Hi guys, thanks for coming. Delayed reaction, we kind of know, but we'll get it on second two. We'll get it on take two. Hey guys, thanks for coming. We're only going to print that one. That's the only one we're going to print. Ben, over to you.
You know, I kind of, it's fun sometimes when you do these panels where there's no intro and the guest just comes out with you. It throws the audience completely by surprise.
Exactly right there. Who's that guy? What's he doing with Ben?
I shouldn't have said anything. I should have just let you come up here and just sit down and see how long it took people to look up from their phones.
I could pull that off. I could probably pull that off. We're all here for Rosario Dawson. Everybody ready? What? No, but hey!
I'm here for you!
I thought it was not the answer that Rosario and I were looking for. Okay, Ben, over to you.
I'm going to start with a very important question. When are we getting more Mike and Tom Eat Snacks?
See, that's great. Anybody? Show of hands, Mike and Tom Eat Snacks. There better be somebody out there that knows what that is.
Wow, I thought there would be.
Okay, thank God. All right, well then, I'm not going to talk about it right now because you guys clearly aren't fans, but if you know what you're doing and you want to listen to an R-rated blue podcast about snacks, Mike Lee and Black and I do a podcast called Mike and Tom Eat Snacks. Before everybody had a podcast, we had a podcast. This is true. And it was one of the top-rated podcasts on a place called Nerdist. Anybody ever heard of Nerdist?
Chris Hardwick's.
Yeah, Nerdist. Yeah, and then it got taken over by a couple different companies. Anywhere you get your podcast, as the kids say, you can get that podcast. It is a solid podcast. I recommend start in the podcast. We pick a snack, we eat a snack, we rate the snack. Couldn't be simpler. And yet, sometimes we don't even talk about the snack because it's all comedy. It's all improv comedy with only two rules, and one of them is we don't plan anything. And so, the snack I think maybe you would want to, if you're like fans of television shows, start with is episode 27, which is Lorna Doone Shortbread, in which Michael Ian Black tells a story about Michael Ian Black. Anybody know who that is? Skinny and frail, okay? Pasty-faced, dark-haired kid. And in that, he tells me how he was the lead for Deadwood. And he was supposed to have the role over Ian McShane, but got laryngitis and got effed by Hollywood. It's all I do is play the straight man in it. It's worth a listen. It's comedy gold. And if you don't like that one, you're not going to like our podcast, but you are going to like it. So that's a freebie for you. Mike and Tom Eat Snacks. We're going to do it sometime soon. These people don't care, so let's talk to the next thing.
Well, you know what kind of sucks now about that too is the fact that like I brought snacks for you because
I'll accept the snacks.
Because Philadelphians, we are passionate about our food and we're passionate about.
Amen.
We have tasty cakes and Hershey chips.
Yeah, I know. By the way, that guy, I think that's in there. The chips, I think
you did do it. I think we did the
that.
Hershey chips before, but I don't think we've done tasty cakes before.
Oh, don't be too sure about that, my friend.
Go with pretzel.
What?
Go with pretzel.
Yeah, but pretzels don't stay
we've done
fresh
pretzels
enough
to death. Yeah, you want first listen to the podcast and then come at me. All right, that's enough about the podcast. I appreciate it. By the way, I'll still accept the snacks.
Oh, I'll give it to you at the end of the podcast. Yeah, at the end. I can't call it a podcast again.
This looks like a podcast, right?
It kind of does.
Like a
yeah.
podcast, kind of a podcast.
Yeah.
This is called Ben and Tom Eat Snacks, or Bates. Thank you.
Bates?
Thank you.
I'll take it.
Yeah,
Just
no,
a
no,
minute.
sure.
I don't want to take over Michael's job though.
No.
We'll do it for when Michael can't do it.
Okay, good. He just got fired. He's like, what? He's down there in Georgia going, what? He moved to Georgia. This guy Googled best small towns in America to live. And Savannah, Georgia came up and he moved there, which I have to say, a lot of respect. You know, like you just took up, moved the kids, moved to Georgia. So, anyway.
Okay. So, then we'll move on then, since
We
people still need to
did
listen to
that
the
down.
podcast.
Yeah, let's talk about the Flash.
Yeah, please, let's talk about the Flash.
That's a great definition of smattering, by the way. Let's talk about the Flash. You guys are great on take two.
So obviously your character of Harrison Wells had many iterations over the course of the series. I kind of lost count. How many iterations of Harrison Wells were there over the course of the entire run?
I heard here other people ask because I don't know.
You don't
I honestly
know.
don't know. I know there was a lot.
Does anybody out there know exactly how many there were?
Go ahead. I'm not going to call you out. If you hit me with 4, I can tell you it's over 10.
Yeah.
Because you're forgetting the guy with the petrol. And
The Council
there's
of Wells.
Yeah, there's the Council of Wells. There's that Wells. Sherlock, right? There's look.
HR.
Look, I could do that all day. And by the way, the cast found that out on take one of Sherlock. That's going to be a runner where they're going to say, "Oh, so anyway, Sherlock." I'm like, "Look, it's not hard. Look, pronounce it look." And then they, no matter how well they did, it would always be like, "It's not hard. It's look, 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 look." And the directors who came in to do the show, there's guest directors, they'd be like, "What's happening? What is this? What are they doing?" Because none of that was scripted. That's like solid comedy gold, and the podcast is 50 times better than that.
We're gonna get them listening to the podcast by the end of this panel. Yeah, we're gonna get them. We're not gonna let them leave the room until it's subscribed on their phone.
Good, great.
So, were there ever any other iterations that were kind of pitched to do, but were never just ended up never happening?
I have like about 50 in my back pocket, and so Todd Helding, the showrunner, and I would like, he'd be like, "All right, what do you got?" And I would just run out, like, so, for example, they came out of, you know, not to make myself sound good, that's the worst thing you can do, but HR, for example, someone said HR. So HR came out of the fact that I thought season 2 was dark. Like, what are we missing? What do we got gaps? Philadelphia. You got gaps, I got gaps. Together we fill gaps. Thank you for noticing. Yeah, we got gaps. Together we fill gaps. So, that was all right. To do that in Philadelphia was all right. Thank you. I appreciate that. You're very kind. I've never even done like a before, so that's good stuff. I was wondering maybe if I got beat up, you won't get me beat up too bad. I'll be a good husband, won't you? That he had in the sink. These are all like my friends and I play this game where you have quote the movie, but you have to say a quote that people won't know. So you don't want to see that kid spill out all over the dock. Anyone? Thank you. But you throw something like that, it's not like we're gonna need a bigger boat. Everyone knows that. So anyway, with Stallone, we would do that with Rocky. Be like, pull up her in the sink. They're like, "You're in the sink." I'm like Rocky too. Look it up. Anyway, where were we? Something about something.
Iterations of Wells that never happened.
So HR came out of the fact that season 2 was dark, and I thought we needed more levity, more comedy, and HR was born, right? And then like the fact that I was going to lead the show, and then they were like, "Well, what would you want to do?" I was like, "Well, what if we had a guy, Sherlock, that's brilliant but obnoxious, that chases down the Reverse Flash, which is also man." I thought, well, that's too good to pass up. A detective, a master detective on the trail of an arch enemy, and I'm both guys? Like, yeah, okay, I'll sign up for that. Yeah, so there you go. That was good, right? That was a solid answer. Got some intel.
I know this is kind of like choosing your favorite child, but do you have a favorite version of Wells that you ever did?
There's a few people I see here that I've asked that same question today at the table, and so I apologize for repeating myself. Not to sound politically correct, but because, you know, I invested and created a bunch of these dudes, the best way to put it is I wouldn't play HR and on the day and wish I was playing Harry, and I wouldn't play Sherlock and wish I was playing Nash. So whatever guy I was playing that day, I was grateful to be playing that guy that day. And then when we did the Council of Wells, where I was playing all of them, it was just like an S show for the poor crew. We just had to like tolerate this guy doing like, you know, like an acting class for like a week. So that was shameless on my part and really enjoyable to do.
Fun. Yeah, so I mean, wow, I got complete sidetracked and forgot where I was going, but I remember now. You know, of all the different iterations that you had, some of them were villainous, some of them were part of the team. You know, hero, playing both sides of that role, both the hero and the villain, which one was more fun?
Villain.
I have to imagine that would be the villain as well.
Don't work for Nakatomi. Now I have a machine gun. I mean, Bruce Willis is like killing it, but you're like, what role do you want? I'll take the Alan Rickman role.
Take the Hans Gruber
please,
role,
and thank you. Hans Gruber. Yeah, William.
You know, your hat kind of leads me into another one of the questions that I have. You're wearing a Superman and Lois stunt department hat. You know, over the course of The Flash, you started taking more of a role behind the scenes and started directing more, and I know you've directed Superman and Lois as well. You did a little bit of directing before The Flash, but what made you want to kind of take that transition into having more of a role behind the camera?
Well, first they asked.
Well, that helps. Yeah.
And a lot of the TV shows that I do, it's generally written in the contract that I'll direct one or two. because I love doing it. I love, when you're doing, Ibar Thon, you're telling one part of the story, and when you're directing, you're telling all the parts of the story. And so I find it phenomenally enjoyable to do. One of the great things about directing yourself is you don't stand for any crap. It's like, you better get it right on take one, not two, and then we can move on. So it's like really efficient when I find that, especially I directed a 100th episode on The Flash and played 4 characters, and everyone's like, oh, this is gonna be a nightmare. It's like, it's not though. Because no one's gonna be indulgent. Those 4 guys are gonna hit their marks, say their lines, and we're gonna move on.
The ones that are gonna get it right.
Yeah, exactly right.
The
And
first
also,
time.
the nice thing is I don't have to tell, with Grant, I'm like, all right, so I thought you'd come in, which is passive aggressive way, like you're coming in this way. But with me, it's like, I know where I'm gonna do, I know where I'm gonna be in the edit, and so it speeds things along. And Cass loves that because I love getting off early, so it's great.
Are we gonna see any directing credits in the final season of Superman and Lois? For you?
So what was interesting about the final season of Superman and Lois, I like to do their finales and their premieres because you get so much more money, and you get to do, when you're doing a finale, it's like, all right, I just want them to fight on top of the thing and then land on a girder, and then they're like, we don't have any of the money. It's like, well, find it. And they don't have another episode to do after that, so they find it. They're great. Todd Helping, the showrunner, is ridiculously accommodating when you work for a guy that knows, we did the 100th together. He knows that he can trust what we're doing, and the vision's going to be something that Warner Brothers is going to love. And once you do that a couple of times and Warner Brothers likes it, then you have a lot of leeway. And so the finale for Superman and Lois was taken up already. And so I said, well, I'm happy to not do it, which is when Todd was like, well, would you play a role? And so that's coming up for those of you that watch Superman.
That's something to look forward to.
Something I'm happy to have done. Yeah.
Would you ever kind of want to take on a full-length feature of directing?
Did you do your homework or something? This is
I do my homework for everything.
Very impressive, very impressive. So for many of you, I'm sure you know, the actors had a strike, and the writers had a strike, so I couldn't write, or couldn't contact people, and you couldn't act. So I wrote a couple of movies, and so.
See, I didn't know this when I did my homework. That's why I'm glad I'm asking.
Yeah, no, I thought you were trying to kind of throw me a softball. But I'm talking to Village Roadshow about a couple of these movies and some other studios and other places, and I'd love, and I would in them and direct them. One of them is called Bad Heist, which for those of you that are Flash fans, and I assume most of you are Flash fans, I did a short film with Grant Gustin, which is all the awful bits that we couldn't do.
Tom Grant.
It's
so good.
So that has become a full-length feature where the 2 guys get thrown in jail and have to break out of jail, and then become unwitting people that have to break in for the Eastern Seaboard Mafia king, and he's basically thinks that he mistakenly thinks that they're the 2 best safecrackers, so he hires them to break in, which is the dumbest thing he's ever done, to break in and steal millions of dollars, and so they have to do that or die. So that's basically Bad Heist. Who wouldn't like to see that? Yeah, so we're working on that. Fun.
Tom and Grant was just a lot of fun, to see the 2 of you
One
together.
word for it. Yeah. For those of you who haven't seen it, Tom and Grant on Vimeo, $2, 20 minutes of your life you can't get back. A lot of blood, semen, and music. So that's an intro for you. Enjoy.
If it's 20 minutes you never get back, then I've lost an hour.
Oh, my man, that's awesome.
Because I've watched it a number of
And
times.
I will say that, the full-length feature has got a lot more guts to it, a lot more story. The prison break sequence is a crazy helicopter sequence that's very good action. There's a lot of good stuff in there that I think you would, if you like the 20 minutes of Tom and Grant, you're really gonna like it.
Good, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. One of my other favorite things, there's so many little things that you used to do for fun with the cast, and I've had the opportunity, I've been on stage with Carlos Valdez in the past before.
Carlos Valdez.
Cisco from the top, yeah. I used to love it. You did it a couple of times, but the season's greetings that you and Carlos used to do, where you mocked playing the different. Has anybody seen those before as well?
We're checking Yeah, they're on Instagram, and not because of anything I do, but Carlos Valdez is a Lin-Manuel Miranda musical genius. He's phenomenally gifted, and so when they go cut, and we'd be backstage when Tom Felton from Harry Potter fame, played Julian on Flash. We couldn't afford him to do more than one season because he's a superstar. But Tommy is incredibly musically gifted, and we shared a trailer, and Carlos and Tommy and I, Keenan Lonsdale, would always be playing music backstage. It was just a joy to be surrounded by people. I've done a couple Broadway shows. Los has. Carlos Valdez is one of the most talented, musically one of the most talented people I've ever met, one of the greatest human beings. And so at Christmas time, we would do a thing called Tom and Carlos. We would like pretend to be playing saxophone and do some Christmas tunes, which we're checking out on our Instagram.
And you're so detailed about it too, because I'm a musician.
That's all him. That's all him.
But you both kind of do, because there's one of them, because I'm a musician as well. I was a horn player, and there's one of them like where you can actually, you're mimicking like emptying the spit valves and like you're so detailed about it. It's so much fun to watch.
That was fine. And go check
Check out the season 2 video. If you're okay, I want to turn it over to the crowd if they have any questions. So there are 2 microphones on both sides. If you guys have any questions, you can line up behind either one. And while they're doing that, I'm going to bring up one more thing, and that's Ed.
Oh yeah.
Because
I've heard of Ed. I love that. That's fantastic.
You've heard of Ed and not his podcast? The podcast came out before that.
That's great.
Sorry.
Nice plug.
I adored that show so much, and I know exactly the reason behind it, but it's so disappointing that show is not streaming. It can't be found anywhere.
Ed was a show that we did, a fella who runs a law practice from a bowling alley, the kind of show that you can't make these days. An hour long for NBC. Just a joy with super talented people, Julie Bowen from Modern Family fame, and a number of other really talented human beings. That show was run by the Letterman Company, and the Letterman people would get musical favors because everybody loved Letterman at the time. And so we, for example, we'd have a Christmas time. We talk about Christmas. We had Bruce Springsteen, Santa Claus is coming to town for our music needle drop. But then it became a music rights thing as we tried to put the show on a streamer where it just became a massive thing. But now Daniel Pancato is a one-man wrecking crew getting that show back on the air and is having conversations with about 4 or 5 streamers. And I don't know if Daniel's in the room, but I don't want to quote him. But we're very hopeful that in the next year, Ed will be on a streamer, hopefully Tubi, or maybe some other ones. I don't like cause like any trouble by saying that. But and so like you'll be able to watch this television show. Like anytime I look at streamers on Netflix and Flash is on Netflix, but I look at like our contemporary shows that are on up there, and that show like did well and won a bunch of awards and stuff. It like feels like it should be there. And so I think that's going to happen in the next year. So we're, Julie, myself, all the gang, we're all very hopeful about that.
That's one I'm gonna definitely rewatch if it ever does hit the streaming, because it's one.
It's worth it, honestly. Yeah. It's worth it. You'd like that.
Is that where you met Michael? Was on Ed?
In Black, yeah.
Yeah, Glenn Black, because I know you were both on the cast together.
100%.
So, all right, let's take it to the audience. And we'll start over here. What's your name and what's your question?
My name is Chad, and my question is, what is your favorite scene of The Flash with you in?
That's a great question. It comes down to a few. Like again, like the 100th episode was momentous for us because 100 episodes. What? Like we haven't been kicked off yet. Like that's crazy. And then the fact that I directed it. There's a scene in there where you have to watch the show. There's a scene in there where I've got Grant chained in the vault, and I'm playing Eobard Thawne, and he's like knocked out and wakes up, and then we have this like scene where it was just he vibes in to see the whole thing. Like that thing was, well, we worked for 100 episodes to get there, and that felt like really strong. And then if you were to pick one from early days, there's a scene in which Eobard Thawne kills Cisco. You've always been like a son to me. And like the fact that this has never happened to me in like 30 years of doing television shows, that episode where where Thawne kills Cisco, also had Barry and Iris sharing a first kiss, and Joe being kidnapped, and Caitlin discovering that I was a villain. Like it was chock full of stuff. And so Warner Brothers flew us, we filmed the show in Vancouver, Canada. Warner Brothers flew us down to Hollywood to screen it for the press because they like episode 17 so much. That's never happened before. I'm like, what? They want to do what? But you feel like you must be doing something right when something like that happens. And the fact that you're killing off a major and beloved character, of course, he wasn't killed off, but the audience was like, ah, you know, it was a visceral moment for a lot of people, and it was like if you were not on board then, you probably were after that. And so that was, I think, like a seminal moment and a solid episode for us.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, we'll switch here over to the side. What's your name and your question?
Hi, my name is Adam, and I wanted to know what was it like filming scenes in which you're playing multiple characters at the same time?
Well, it was hell for the crew because it's one man's exercise in shamelessness. For example, when you're in the Council of Wells, the hardest part for those that were in the room was the actors who played the other characters when I wasn't playing that specific character. And because it would be one of these, it'd be like, you know, I'm playing, let's say, Sherlock, and he's talking to Harry, and Harry does not like Sherlock. And Sherlock would be like, right, what do you? And because Harry's staring at him like, so I'd be like, right, what do you? And then that body double has to get this little double take right, and not go double take, triple take, fade away, squint, double take, triple take, fade away, squint. Because I'd be like, no, too much, you're doing too much. And so like they had to they would come in hours early, and the actors would, I'd be like, all right, so for this one, you know, you're kind of like, and then you have to get it exactly right, or none of the things are going to cut together, right? And so those poor guys for like a week are like just imitating all my stupid acting shamelessness, but it would really work. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate that. Well, I thought you were going to drink it for a second. It was a pandemic, Ben. So yeah, so there you go. It was fun. It was really fun to do.
Thank you.
Welcome. I don't know if that answer warrants applause, but thank you. You're generous. Let's go here to misbehave.
Hi, my name is Alex, and more of a request than a question. I was wondering if you can give us your hardest if it was me, Barry.
Give you what?
Your hardest it was me, Barry.
I won't do that. I will give you like the classic, which is this one. Everyone ready for this? Run. Run. Because without that, we didn't have a show. Thank you.
And the number of times that was spoken over the series too, by different characters and different iterations, it was great.
And that wasn't like, at the beginning we thought it was just sort of like, it was a one-off, run, Barry, run. But then it was like, oh, this is cool. Now, and everyone would be like, when do I get mine, run, Barry, run? Yeah. There was a great moment when we did the crossover, which I was so grateful for the writer, and I don't quite know who gets credit for it, but there was a moment in Crisis, and I think we were doing on the Legend set, and my character we had to get rid of a nuclear bomb or something like that. And they're like, what do we do with it? And I was like, take it up, and away. And I was like, God, that's inventive writing. And there was another moment, I think it was a crossover, we're like, what is that? Is that a bird? It was a plane, and it was like, it was Adam, the guy who played the Atom.
Oh, Brandon Routh.
Brandon Routh.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my boyfriend. It was like, the bird, it's a plane. So what the hell? The bird, it's a plane. It's my boyfriend. Okay, you're up.
Hey, my name is Pierre Rick. So we all know like you played with Reverse Flash and stuff, but for Marvel, like, is there any character you would love to play?
In what? On the Flash?
No, like for like the Marvel side.
If you went into the Marvel universe.
Here's what I'd like to do. I would like to play Reverse Flash in the movie. I would like to join James Gunn's Empire and like keep playing one of these characters in the DC universe. Seriously.
James Gunn apparently is a huge fan of Grant, and I know there's been.
That doesn't help me.
It's just look, you have clout with Grant. You did a movie together.
Yeah, you're right.
You can use the clown.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, there you go.
He's like, who now? Grant Gustin's what? Anyway, here we go, over here.
Over the second.
Hi Tom, Eric, nice to meet you. A pleasure. I feel that you're the cornerstone of the show. Your reverse flash is amazing. My question is, where did you get the inspiration, and what characters make you inspired to make your interpretation as the reverse flash?
I think that the reverse flash is a good example of, like, we talked about Alan Rickman as Hans Gruber. This is somebody who's got a goal, not a villain in his own mind. Somebody who has a goal. And so reverse flash is someone who's trying to get home. And he's using these people for sure, but to them they've been dead for him they've been dead for centuries. You know, he's like, this is his goal, and he has to create the flash and use the flash. And so when you ground it with, like, okay, I have this goal and I'm trying to achieve this goal, and he's a smart guy, it makes it a lot easier. And I feel the storytelling point that is probably the most instrumental with that is the fact that he needs to mentor the Flash, right? And so that creates this whole thing where, like, the Flash has to be good, has to become the Flash, has to learn how to phase and do. And so when he's like saying, "You're part of the Speed Force," and he's encouraging him, he needs it for him, but also, you know, that creates a bond between them, which is anytime, like, somebody has a bond and then you're going to break that bond, that makes it that much more emotional. And so I think that was nothing to do with me. That was the writers and the people who created that story and plot point, but that was very helpful to me creating the character.
Thank you very much, and
You're
thank you
welcome.
for 10 amazing years.
Cheers. Hi, how are you?
My question is, what was your favorite Wells to play?
Well, again, like I say, like I don't. The one I'm playing that day is the one that I'm really happy to be playing. Playing the Reverse Flash is the thing that would make me the happiest. But putting on the yellow suit and, like, doing the stunts with the stunt women and stunt men of Flash was the raison d'etre to do that show for me.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, back over to the side.
Hi, my name is Marie. Tom, I'm actually subscribed to your podcast.
Let's go. You see that? All right.
I was wondering if you and Matt would ever think about doing a series, like trying a certain snack from a certain state and then rating it. Like you do a Philly pretzel from here, or like say go to Florida and try one of their snacks.
It's so funny because we're actually, like, that concept, not that we're stealing it from you, we had that, we're literally talking about that last week. And so stay tuned.
Cool, thank you.
You're gonna see a Mike and Tommy Snacks tour? Stage tour.
How awful was that? Stage tour. We did it one time, Mike and I did it one time, and I think it wasn't here, but it was, we did it one time, and, like, it was like, we had people, like, throwing snacks on stage. So it was like mayhem, but it was also kind of cool. Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Your costume's amazing.
Thank you.
But enough about you. Go ahead.
My name's Grace, and I'm a huge fan of The Flash. But my question was, what was your favorite season of The Flash to film?
Grace, that's a great question. Season 1, unequivocally season 1. The reason for that, for the actors, was that, you know, when you shoot a television show, you know, the odds are awful that you'll get to a second season. And almost always you don't. And I had done a couple of shows already for Greg Berlanti, and Greg wasn't, like, the Hollywood's biggest producer at the time. He was just a guy trying to get Flash, which he loved, on the air. And so when he asked me to play the Reverse Flash, he was like, I just want to get one season. Literally, we're like, he wanted to have the DVD on his desk for one season. So when you shoot a pilot, you're like, I mean, I hope we see each other again. And you finish a pilot and you say, well, I hope they pick it up. You know, because of the success of Arrow, we had a solid belief that we would get 13 episodes. But I do remember talking to friends back, I live in New York City, talking to friends back in the city going, like, I'll see you in October. Like when the show gets canceled after 7 episodes. Because honestly, that's just what it is. You get your heart broken time and time again. And so for you to pick up the show and to decide that you like it enough to give enough viewership for us actors to come back and do a second season is gold, and it's rare, and we are extremely grateful. Season 1, Greg pulled out all the stops. He's like, what's the best thing about the show? Flash versus Reverse Flash, okay? Batman versus Joker, Superman versus Lex Luthor. Let's tell that story and hope we do a good job. And so the season finale is Flash versus Reverse Flash. Flash wins. And I thought at the time, I was like, well, I'm out. That was great. I had a great year. And so a lot of that is like, you're sharing something with people, and it's kind of special because you're not taking it for granted. On season 4, you're coming back for season 5. And season 5, it's just and that it's become this thing where, for the superhero shows, especially for the Flash, it did well. We knew we were coming back once we got past 2 and 3. But season 1 is special because there's like a core group of you, and I'm talking not just about the actors, but the directors, the showrunners, the camera people, the props people, the costumers, where you feel like you're all in this together, and if you do it well enough, you might get to keep doing something that you love. And so, season 1, when they announced that, hey, you're coming back for season 2, it's just a giant feeling. I don't know that all the other actors, I know a number of them feel the same way as I do, but a lot of those actors, unlike, for example, Danielle Pennebaker and I, and Jesse Martin, we had our hearts broken and known that it doesn't often become a success. And so for us, I think it was very special because we weren't counting on like, oh, this will go for sure. So there's a lot of gratitude there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Grace.
I know we're at the end of our scheduled time, but do you want to do a couple
Oh,
more?
yeah, no, I'm
Okay,
happy to.
Let's keep going then. Over here.
Unless, should we stop?
Well, I mean, they haven't listened to the podcast before, so.
No, it's like, that'd be an awful punishment.
It's like a punishment.
punishment.
It's like a punishment.
Are you gonna say?
Now they'll start listening.
I'm listening to it right now. Go ahead.
My name is Kamar, and you mentioned that the first season was your very favorite season to film. I want to know how many bloopers and how many takes did it take for you to do Eobard in a wheelchair? Because I've seen some clips on Instagram where like you moved your leg a whole lot.
I would run into the walls on purpose just in case. You know what I mean? That was just like, that was the wrong guy to put 5 speeds on a device that would buzz around a very small space. You know what I mean? And then, of course, Grant Gustin, always like, I want to try. There's a lot of empathy, that you gain. I think we all feel empathetic for, people that are challenged in that fashion. And then you have even though like you probably do have the empathy, I feel like doing it nonstop and seeing the day-to-day challenges, you just have that much more respect, and that much more awareness. So that for me personally was not a bad thing at all.
Thank you.
Welcome. Hey, why are you taking it off? Okay.
Yeah, you probably couldn't hear me with the helmet on. So.
I can't, what's that? See what I did there? It's so quick, right? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm Keith from Promising Galaxy.
Okay. Nice.
What is your favorite Arrowverse episode and why? The Eddie Show at any time.
Arrowverse, is that like includes a Flash?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because I don't watch Arrow, but you had me there for a second. I'm like, oh, is that us too? Yeah, I know Multiverse is us. What's my favorite episode?
Yeah.
Did I answer that? No. Oh.
He's saying of the Arrowverse is like a whole. So Legends, Arrow, Flash, Supergirl.
Gotcha. On Supergirl, it was episode. I don't even watch The Flash, so I don't watch any of those other television shows. And so for me, it would always have to come down to the episodes of Flash that I have filmed. And I have a number, the ones that I direct, and obviously I'm like, I have a lot of affection for. And like I said, episode 7, I believe it was 17 when I killed Cisco, and episode 100, those ones stand out for me. Awesome. Over here.
My name is Angel. I want to know, so you said that like you kind of created like HR's character and other characters. So I kind of wanted to know, did you know that the characters were going to die, or did they just randomly just one day bring you to screen and say, yeah, you're dead?
No. We would always know going in what the arc was because I didn't want to play them for more than a year. HR was a brilliant crafting by Todd Helbing and the writers crew because we knew going in that he was going to sacrifice. But I also wanted it to be a tableau, you know what I mean by tableau? Like I wanted it to be an image. Directing wise, you may have, for those who have spend a lot of time watching these episodes, I try to show and not tell, you know, and not talk it out. And so we came up with the idea of the drumsticks, so that when we think Iris is killed and the drumsticks fall in slow motion to the ground, we realize, oh, it was HR all along. And so we set up the shape-shifting early on in the episodes, and then I had the drumsticks. From the beginning, before we went to camera on episode 1, we knew that the drumstick tableau would be the thing in slow motion, but nobody else knew. So there I am on set, and Grant's like, what are you doing? What do you got the drumsticks for? Like, why drumsticks? Everybody was like, why drumsticks? Why drumsticks? We were like, you'll see. You'll see what drumsticks. But it paid off well, so yeah.
Thank you. You just mentioning the falling drumsticks made my heart sink a little bit, because that
Yeah, I know,
HR's
right?
death is like the
What's that
hardest
like that
one to
guy?
it's the hardest one to handle.
I mean, yeah, which is what we were going for.
Good.
So I appreciate you saying
Mission
that.
accomplished.
Yeah, thank you. Hey.
Hello, Tom. My name is Marlon. I just wanted to know, you know, you were pretty much the Reverse Flash for your co-star Matt. He was also the Reverse Flash on Legends and also some scenes in the regular show. Did you guys ever like, because you guys are both essentially the same character, but you guys are so different in like how you guys, you know, perform and everything like that. Did you guys ever like talk or like, hey, you know, like what do you think about this, or like basically chat about your Reverse Flashes and how y'all are interpreting them?
No, never. Matt's a phenomenal, see, this is a funny thing, like Matt had been one of the leads of one of those shows that Eli Stone was the name of the show. He's a phenomenal actor, and like he like me, has benefited from Greg Berlanti's loyalty towards actors who have like done him proud, I think, in his past shows. And so it was kind of a no-brainer for Matt to come in. We had to establish the fact that he looked like this, and then he looked like he kills Harrison, the doctor, as you may recall, right? So we had to establish somebody who didn't look like Harrison coming in. So it was a no-brainer for Matt to come in and do that. And I think it was fantastic that once he did do that, I'm like, well, we can use him in other capacities, not just our show, but ends up doing like a lead on Legends. And I think that was like, again, not every showrunner and producer has any interest in loyalty, and the fact that Matt ended up being, you know, like knowing, you know, being a part of like a number of shows is a testament to, you know, Greg Berlanti and the fact that he, you know, is one of those Hollywood people that like looks out for his folks. So that's a great thing, I think.
Thank you, Tom. Bless
Welcome.
you.
I always hate being the person that says we're never going to get to every question, and unfortunately we've gotten to that point. We can probably do one more, and then we're going to have to wrap things
No
up.
pressure, because if yours is no good, we're going over here. So hold tight. I hope yours is no good.
Hello, my
That's no good.
My name is Cash.
Hi, Cash.
If you were stranded on a desert island with any other character from The Flash, who would it be?
Oh, that's great. That's a great question. I'm not going to answer that, and we're going to have to go to you. The reason for that is these people have phones, and anybody that I say is going to leave out everybody else, and my phone is going to blow up in 6 minutes going like, what? You don't want me on a desert island? I was like, I do not. I'd rather be by myself on that desert island, like Hanks in Castaway, and just doing the best I can do. Anybody like that cast, and not just that cast, Cash, like the crew. Like when you never see the crew, but they're there all the time. Like some of my best friends, Kate Main, the costumer, Gavin DeWest, the props person, I could go on and on and on. The camera people, the grand humans that are on this journey with you, and they get no credit, but I'd bring them all to the desert island if I could. Thank you. Good luck. We got to do it.
One more. Yeah.
What is your favorite person on Team Flash?
I just answered that. You're up. Go ahead. I can't say that because the next thing you know, I'll be kicked onto a desert island by myself.
My name is Liam, and what is your favorite power that the Reverse Flash had?
All right. This is a good one to end on. Because you got to think this through a little bit, right? I think, and what I'm going to put out to the crowd for you guys to consider, because what's nice about the Vibrant and the fact that he can phase is essentially, he, Grant, myself, the people that can vibe, can consume as much calories as we want. And what that ends up allowing me as a reverse flash to do is to eat as much pizza and Philly cheesesteak as I want without any deleterious effect. And on that note, I feel like the fact that the last answer had what?
Can I give you my Lego Reverse Flash figure?
But then I'd have it, and we're.
Yeah, I want you to have it.
All right, I'm taking it. Thank you guys. Thanks for coming.
Thanks,
I appreciate
guys.
it. You're awesome.